The first step is to apply the impression cylinder jacket. With the blanket still on the press, adjust your back cylinder pressure to -20. To allow for a smooth sheet transfer from the transfer cylinder to the impression cylinder, come about 4 millimeters back from the grippers on the impression cylinder. If the jacket is too close for the grippers, it could catch the sheet. You can mark it with a pen or use a small piece of support foam as a guide, which comes with the system. It comes in long, narrow strips, which is easily trimmed and adhered to the front edge of the impression cylinder at the 4 millimeter marks previously mentioned. Now pull back the protective paper only about 50 millimeters to reveal the adhesive backing. Roll the impression cylinder around to the lead edge and, using the support foam guides as a starting point, attach the jacket's leading edge directly to the cylinder, securing the adhesive as you go. Then slowly advance the press as you peel back the protective paper, securing the jacket directly to the impression cylinder surface as you advance. Manually engage the impression to apply pressure to the impression cylinder at the previous setting of -20. As you slowly roll the press forward, this pressure will evenly secure the jacket, eliminating any possible bubbles. 3 complete rotations are recommended. We offer adhesive strengths for perfecting cylinder surfaces as well. Then remove the foam strips which you used for alignment. Just as a precaution, place the orange tape on both the lead and tail edges of the impression cylinder jacket to reduce the chance of the jacket popping up at the edges during any long idle times of more than a few days. Trim the ends of the tape. Advance and repeat taping on the tail edge. This completes step 1, applying the impression cylinder jacket. Step 2 is removing the blanket and installing the RSP base plate. Advance the press, loosen the blanket clamps, and remove the blanket in packing as you normally would. Adjust the blanket bar to an even position to aid in installing the base plate and packing. Packing will be determined by your undercut on the blanket cylinder. Consult your PrintLine owner's manual for specifics. After choosing the proper packing, simply insert it behind the base plate. Next, it is important to locate the print start notch out line on the leading edge of the base plate. Secure the base plate and carefully adjust this print start notch to align with the beveled edge of the blanket cylinder by rolling it in. Double check the alignment. This puts the height of the pin bar inside the cylinder gap. Advance to the tail and lock it in and tighten it down like a normal blanket. However, since this is not a rubber blanket, which normally you are trying to slightly stretch, put even pressure, but be careful not to over-tighten. When it is snug, it is tight. When using a torque wrench, use no more than 20 pounds of pressure. This concludes the base plate installation. The Mylar grid is the next operation. First, you need to check your layout and create your make-ready using one of the Mylar grid sheets provided with your system. Here are a couple of tips to make the process as simple as it looks. First, notice that the Mylar has metric scale printed directly on it with a reduction factor built into the measurements. This ensures accurate registration when the Mylar grid is secured to the RSP base plate. Remember to work with a metric ruler and, in millimeters, take measurements from the lead edge of your sheet and write them down. Next, on your grid, measure the appropriate rule to be used. Here, for example, the male creasing rule, to fit your layout, and simply mark with your fingers and cut the rule. Next, double-check the measurement and attach it to the Mylar grid by simply peeling back the protective paper to reveal the adhesive as you place it down. Don't forget to place the processing rules or dies laterally reversed or in mirror image. It is important to note the width of the processing rules are 2 millimeters wide, so allow for this when locating the center of the rule on the corresponding line. Remember, since the reduction factor is built in, placing the sheet directly under the Mylar will cause the make-ready form to be out of register. Apply supporting foam to the Mylar in the waste areas of the sheet where there is no printing image to ensure accurate registration. This support foam keeps the sheet flat during the finishing process. It peels off easily and you simply cut and attach to the grid. Here we apply a die previously made by measuring again from the lead edge for position. Look for registration marks on the die for accurate location on the Mylar. These dies can be made in about 48 hours and are produced from a die line or electronic CAD file. Now double-check your work for accuracy on all the perf, crease, and die cut areas. After completing the make-ready of the Mylar grid, which is often completed in pre-press, go to the base plate and remove the safety bars by partially loosening the black safety screws. Also, remove the safety bar on the tail. Identify the small die-cut pinholes on the leading edge of the Mylar grid. Attach the Mylar through the pinholes directly onto the pin bar by simply snapping into position with your thumb. Reattach the safety bar to the lead edge of the pin bar by pushing the bar up and tightening the safety screws until they are snug. Be careful not to over-tighten or strip the screws. Now advance the press to the tail pin bar and again snap the Mylar grid onto the pin bar, reapply the safety bar, and tighten the safety screws snug as before. On the tail pin bar, place a pin wrench into the pinhole. Loosen the large silver locking screws, pull to tighten the Mylar make-ready to the base plate, and then re-tighten the silver locking screws. Feel the Mylar grid surface to make sure it doesn't move and is tight to the base plate. Check it in all areas for snugness, since any slack will cause misregister. Now you are ready for your first run-through. Since we had the pressure set for -20 to apply the impression cylinder jacket, we must now set it for -35 for the first pull. At this pressure, you should safely see cuts and perforations without the risk of too much pressure. Secure all safety guards and engage the press to run a few sheets. Check these first few sheets for registration or positioning. In this case, we notice the entire make-ready should be moved to the right for better alignment. Proceed to the tail of the base plate and loosen the silver screws to take the tension off the Mylar make-ready. Then advance forward to the lead edge of the base plate and again loosen the silver screws. Look closely at the registration marks on the base plate designed to help you in refining your adjustments up, down, or side to side. After your adjustment, re-tighten the silver screws on the lead edge. Then on the tail, again use your pin wrench, re-tighten the silver screws. Double-check to make certain that everything is tight. This adjustment can all be done in a matter of seconds. Although the first pull also revealed we needed more pressure, we should incrementally raise the pressure in small adjustments rather than running the pressure up quickly. Here we go from -35 to -30 for our next pull. Run a few more sheets to double check for perfect registration. Now registration looks good, but we need more pressure for the die cutting and perforating. Now we go from -30 to -25 pressure for our next test and run a few more sheets. Review the sheet. After a few more tests and gently increasing the pressure each time, we determine the ideal pressure is -16, just enough to do the job cleanly. Remember, we want a kiss cut against the impression cylinder jacket. Now it is time to apply the creasing matrix or female portion of the creasing system. Locate the creasing rule which was secured in position during the make-ready phase. Cut a piece of the female creasing matrix, start to peel back the protective paper from the strip, and find the groove or channel while positioning on the male creasing rule. Press and feel it glide together as you pull the release paper off. Next, carefully remove the top protective paper, revealing the adhesive, which will now be transferred to the impression cylinder jacket. Put the press on impression and always roll in reverse to avoid locating the creasing matrix on the plate cylinder. As it locates in inching the press in reverse on impression, you should hear it transfer to the impression cylinder. Next, pull the locating adhesive off the top, exposing the creasing channel. Run a few tests to make sure the crease is perfect. Die cut is in register. Perforation is clean. Scoring is letterpress quality. Now you're ready for the full production run without sacrificing speed or print quality. And with PrintLine, you get high quality and high speed production right on your press, in line, without the job ever leaving your plant. Now that's a process which will increase profits, save time, and give you the competitive advantage you need in these demanding market conditions. Don't wait. Use the RSP inline finishing system on your next perforation, score, or die cut job to realize an immediate return on your investment.